In episode 1 of my Dealing with Reentry, a spaceflight simulator, I took all the courses of the Mercury program, and what's missing is the exam. I don't want to do that right now, later in this video though. First, well, there's also the Gemini program and the Apollo program. First I want to try to remember how to use the capsule before I will actually be tested on this. So I will choose campaigns? No, missions, yeah. Mercury, free play. Let's take Redstone was only good enough for suborbital flight. Atlas was for actual orbital flight. Doesn't really matter which one I pick though, because it's about the cockpit now, not about actual flight. I haven't seen any gameplay yet, but one mistake that I made, and that's understandable because I was so buried in learning all the things, was that I didn't really take a look at the capsule from the outside, not while it was in flight. And so, I mean, because we just have this little window there, it appears as if the entire game just consists of, well, these are the switches, and then there's some text that tells you where to go and what to do. But the truth is we also have the outside view here. Oh, and from underneath the world also, yeah, that's a thing. And so, huh? Interesting, I just pressed F2. Does that raise the sun, or what does that do? I don't know. So I would have seen that I was actually launching into space. And there's also orbiting around the moon and landing on the moon and stuff like that that the game supposedly has. I haven't seen any of that yet, because this is a quite serious game, and before you can do any of those things you first have to learn how to do them. Interesting. Why is this rolling aside? Is it just the time for this? Apparently. So I'm in there. And I am looking out that window, I would guess. And my placement seems to be very awkward. I'm probably up there in a pilot seat pointing downwards. Like this is the ground, it looks like. Why do I see the sky then? Well, I guess it's the opposite. I'm lying on my back here, I'm staring up. That would be it. That's what would be it, yeah. Anyway, okay. We have a lot of checklists, we're not going to go into those right immediately now. Let's look at all the controls. So up here we see the orientation of the capsule, of the entire ship basically. And here we have some controls to make possible that we can even decide that ourselves. Then the way that the ship does that automatically is based upon gyros, which detect what the rotation is, but they can of course drift over time. But for that there's some calibration in the system that looks at the horizon of Earth, and so but it has a very narrow field of view, and so once that thing sees the horizon, the ship will know how it's oriented and can recalibrate its understanding of the gyros and such. I have no idea how they did that back then in the Mercury program, which was, I mean, they didn't exactly have smartphones back then, you know. I don't even know when that was, honestly. Anyway, I can switch this to fly-by-wire, and then when I'm in flight I can control the ship by using the RCS thrusters, and we have a tank here that fuels them, or well, that provides them, and here's another tank that does the same. Which one is used at which time I haven't yet figured out entirely. But then there is some rate limiter here. If I flip this like this, then everything will still be automatic, but I can control the ship somewhat, or something like that. I guess experience will tell. Don't have to remember everything in detail. Here we have the stages, like in Kerbal Space Program, where you have your rocket staging. The first thing is that we will be, well, jettison tower. I don't even know yet what that means. I mean, the tower is already gone, isn't it? What's the clock? Do we have some mission clock here? No. Do we have a countdown? Oh yes, we have a countdown. Woohoo! 1 minute. Let me be so. I will just pause the game, pressing 0. 1, 2, 3, 4, and so forth. Time scale. Yeah, and then they would start the actual mission time, and this is something that you have to make sure actually happens. So if this doesn't happen automatically, you would have to immediately click here and then punch this button. Left mouse button opens this, right mouse button closes this, left mouse button flicks this switch to the left, right mouse button flicks this switch to the right, and there's also... I cannot move around. Can I only do that in real time? Oh yeah, okay, it's a bit annoying. Here we have the batteries that I can turn, that I can enable or disable. And pause the countdown again. And this is how that works. We have okay, it doesn't react while I'm paused. No wonder. So we have the mains bus, which powers basically everything, the lights here for example, and if we are in a situation where we need to save power, we need to turn off everything that we can. The mains power consists of 3 batteries that are wired in parallel. This one, that one, and that one, and behind the seat I have the option to disable them, to turn them off. I don't know what exactly that does, but I guess it's, well, then they are no longer wired to this thing, I guess. They are in parallel, and here we can see the amps that the ship is currently drawing. The more that is, the more this needle will go down. Of course, the needle goes down less if the batteries have more power. And with power I don't mean voltage, but 3 in parallel, that has quite some oomph. And then we have the standby batteries, 1 and 2, that can be used also. I guess when you switch this one on, then the 2 standby batteries will have been added to the pile here. And if I want to turn this or this battery off, that's exactly what you do behind the switch. And then there's another battery. I mean, these are reserved, you know, in case something goes awry. And then we have another battery, the isolated battery, which has more power, more voltage, which is used to blow the squibs, which perform the staging of the rocket. So, for example, it's separating the capsule from the rocket drive, I guess. And that's very important. And this battery doesn't have much reserves or something. It's meant for these particular purposes. Or you can also use that, for example, to for radio contact, because I mean that's kind of essential. And if that can't be done with the batteries that you have, then you can use this battery, but it's not meant for that purpose. So what I can do is I can flip this on. Then we have the standby batteries going to main. And if I still need more battery, then I have the isolated battery that I can flick on here also. That will only kick in if this one here is also on. And then this will go in here, but it is not meant. It won't be sustaining for long. It's an emergency battery if used like this. So here we have the ampere meter, and I can flick this from normal to bypass. Don't remember exactly what that was. I can flick it to off, then nothing will be powered. Audio bus, emergency or normal. Emergency might actually be drawing from the isolated battery. I'm not sure. Alright, and we have DC voltage and AC voltage. Some systems need DC voltage, direct current, and some need AC, alternating current voltage. Here we have the AC measurement, but what we're measuring here is, I think, not the actual AC volts, but I think what we are measuring here is the volts that the DC power source has to generate AC, because you can see here Here we have an inverter cooling system. The more I turn this up, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, the more the inverter, the one that produces the AC power, will be cooled. Same for the suit temperature and the cabin temperature. The more you turn this up, the more you will be cooled. Also, when you're doing a re-entry, like half an hour before, you're supposed to turn all of these up. And there was something else I think you could also do to make sure that the capsule will be as cool as it can be before it will then be heated up by the friction of the atmosphere. Okay, down here we have the radio. I can switch I can switch between UHF, which is the normal means of communication, to HF, just high frequency, which I don't know if that was explained, might have further range or something. Anyway, for the UHF, I can select from low power to high power, which will certainly burn more battery as my take. It's not what they said, but I mean, it's logical. Where's that power coming from? Beacon? I don't know. Too bad I can't move around right now. Or can I? Oh, that's funny. I cannot... Wait, what? Oh, that's very weird. Yeah, I can press the F keys to move my head around, but the effect of the actual positioning doesn't kick in unless time is actually ticking. That's weird. And here we have a few fuses. For example, the retro jettison. Let me go back to normal view. Because when we are in flight, then the automatic blah, I don't know exactly the abbreviations yet. I just went through the training course once. Will make sure that we're oriented for retrograde, aka when we are orbiting the Earth, then this will be oriented so that if the retro would fire here, which you can also do manually, then we would slow down orbiting and would then eventually descend. But we can also set this to re-entry. I don't know what exactly that does, because I just explained it as if that is re-entry, so I just confused the two, but it's a different orientation. I think that if we're going for re-entry, then it will point exactly downwards. So that seems a bit weird, right? Why would you do that? Why would you point downwards when gravity will do that? Anyway, that's kind of what this does. Then the whole sequence, the programmer, that's what that's called, the thing that runs, that triggers all these things in the right moment, that's called the programmer, will then eventually also fire the retro, and you can select here what delay that will have, because there's going to be a warning first. Where is that? Retro warning, which you can turn off like all the other warnings, which are pretty loud. Sadly, you cannot adjust the volume of these beep sounds versus the rest of the SFX here, so the entire cabin is not so very loud. You heard me clicking the switches a few minutes ago, right? The beeping would still be pretty loud, so I think that should really have its own volume slider. This stuff, blood pressure and so, hasn't yet been explained. Here we have the suit fan. My spacesuit has its own AC system, the ECS, the environmental control system. Here we have the inverter control for the cooling, I would guess, I don't know. Anyway, here we also have the fuse for the retro, and when you're about to actually use your retro thing, then you would want to make sure that it's enabled, the fuse and so forth, and that it is armed. But when you definitely do not want it to be jettisoned, then you, because that's something that you do at some point during the descent, because why would you want your parachute to carry the retro thruster engines also? It's just too much mass. You'd want to make a soft landing instead of being pulled into the ocean. But when you don't want to jettison that, then you want to make sure that this thing is off, and that the retro jettison fuse here is also off. The fuses are very peculiar. These ones also. They have two positions. This one is on, And if I flip this off, then it will be exactly parallel to the metal here. And then it's off. And I can flip it further, then it's the opposite diagonal. And then that's a separate fuse, actually. So there are two fuses in one, which have the same purpose. But it's like when one fuse is gone, you still have the other one. And some systems are too essential, and I guess that those are these ones. I don't know which ones those are. That are too essential, but those who are too essential, they don't even have a fuse when they're flicked to the other side. That's just a direct cable connection, because fuck it, you need this system. Even if everything burns up, that has priority over everything else where you have this. Let's see, what fuses do we have? Phase shifter? I don't know. Emergency capsule? I don't know. Emergency escape rocket? I don't know. Tower separate control? I guess that is related to the tower jettison. I wonder if that is related to the umbilicals, though I cannot... Oh, I cannot zoom out here? That's stupid, man. Why can't I control the camera while I'm paused? I mean, it's inconsistent. Why can't I do that in a capsule? Anyway. Emergency postcard, I don't know. Auxiliary beacon? There was something about a beacon over here also, right? Then we have the retro thrusters, number 1, 2, and 3, which will fire one after the other, overlappingly, I think. And here we can disable those. Then we have emergency retro. I don't know what those are. I mean, it sounds as if they are the same, but will not be used except if need be. This one is for when you are in a descent. This will, I mean, while you're orbiting, your G's are 0, or basically 0, because you're falling in free fall around Earth. But once you make your descent back to the surface, at some point, the deceleration caused by the resistance of the air will cause you some G's. And once these very weak G's, the very weak G forces, have been detected, the ship will automatically, where is it? Here, go into some artificial spin. Not a fast one, but and the purpose is to make sure that your orientation stays stable while you're making your descent. That's what that does. I don't know why there's also an emergency one. Who knows? Then we have the emergency thing. It's a parachute kind of thing, and I believe this one is a small one that pulls out the big one. Then we have a reserve parachute. Then we have the land back thing, which we can probably see down here. I guess this one will... No, I think this is part of the lower stuff that will be separated. But in here, this floor will basically blow out. It will go down here. In between, there will be some blown up thing. And once we land, it will be squished. So we're sitting inside of kind of an air pressured boat. And that is what that does. Wait, what is it? The land back. Yep. Rescue aids, that was explained, but I'm not entirely sure what that does. Is that the people will be called like, I'm down here, save me already. I guess that's what that is. Periscope was also not yet explained. It allows me to look outside, I guess. Then we have the antenna switch, I guess. Receiver A, this communication, I don't related, I guess. Trim high frequency. I wonder what that does. Is it related to ultra high frequency, or only to high frequency? But certainly this is communications related. TLM low. That sounds like it's also related to trimming, blah blah blah, low frequencies. Cabin lights. I don't know what the photo lights are good for, but they suggested to also turn those off if you really need to save power. These ones are for when you want to control your ship yourself. The ship will make sure that the orientation on all 3 axes is proper, but you can pull one of these out and then you have free reign over that axis. That's what they are good for. And the manual one is also related to this entire logic, but I haven't grasped it. It was just too complex, or too much stuff at once. Okay, squib, that is generally that whatever stage of the rocket can be separated by the little explosives. These are actually fired by the isolated battery. Then maybe if you haven't seen here, we can measure the mains, which is 1, 2 and 3 together. And if I measure this one, I will measure the same voltage, but the amps needle will be much lower, much further down, because the amps load on that one battery is of course only 1/3 of the overall amps load, because these three are connected in parallel. I checked that during the training. Yeah, let's go through the stages. So tower, I don't know. Separate capsule, I haven't understood that one either, because I believe there was also a booster stage in some case, and after that we still had the main drive, and that's separating from the capsule. That I would understand, but I'm not sure when exactly this one fires. Then the retro sequence, retro attitude, yeah, whether the attitude is correct, this will be green. And only when it's green, the retro can be fired automatically, but I guess you can bypass this by flicking the switch. Then retro jettison, of course, at some point. The scope, again, that periscope wasn't explained. This is the slow rotation when you descend for stability. This one is the chute that pulls out your chute. This is the snorkel, which will be opened once you're far down in the atmosphere, which allows exchange with the atmosphere, so we will no longer be isolated in here. We get fresh air from the outside. Main for the main parachute, reserve for the reserve parachute, and the landing bag, of course. So then we have the descent speed, the altitude meter, the tanks for the RCS again, the accelerometer, which shows the G-forces, the rolling and yawing and all of that. And this one shows, I believe, the speed of the particular axis movement or rotation. Here we have our supposed position around Earth. This is the clock, I guess. And this one goes on 5 minutes before the retrograde thrusters fire, so you can prepare or can abort it or something, because that whole thing is on a timer, and that timer is dependent on this mission clock, and so you have to make sure that this one starts, else your program will be out, will not be not have any connection with reality. So this is for zeroing the time. This one is also is used for setting the clock, but it wasn't explained to me how exactly you do that then. Okay, then we have the environmental control system. Here we have the cabin pressure, which is currently high. Sea level pressure in PSIA, I don't know what the fuck unit that is. They didn't use proper units back then. And once we're in ascent, this will fall down here to this level. That is controlled and intended, not fall down further if everything goes right. And here we have the temperature, which shouldn't increase too much. Here we have the cooling system for the cabin pressure, for the cabin. Then I don't know what sensor, they didn't explain this one here. Because here we have the temperature of the cabin, and here we have the temperature of the sensor. Where is that sensor? Which sensor is that? Is that the one in my suit? Is that the one in the cabin? I don't know. Steam vent pressure was also not explained. I assume it's related to the cooling system, because I mean somehow this works, and I believe this uses water, is what they said. Then we have the suit fan. That is I have two in my suit. This one is normal, that is a standard control. Here I can force fan 1, here I can force fan 2. In the cabin I only have one fan. I mean, it's about protecting the astronauts, so I have two of these, and this one is basically the same thing again, auxiliary. It basically protects your spacesuit by protecting the cabin in which you find yourself. Then here we have some warning lights. We can dim those so the lights are less bright, I guess, when you're out there in space, so you're not blinded by them or something. I don't know what this one was good for, but they explained that, I think. O2 emergency, yeah, I can, for example, release the where was that? Here, I can decompress the cabin, which will then cause, that's just one way, I guess, cause an O2 emergency. Here we can turn off that alert, and we can repressurize with this one, which will be much faster than the repressurization that would happen anyway. because I've observed that, you know, it was slowly ascending again, but then when I pulled that one, it was much faster. This one also, that's when your suit gets too humid, too damp. That was when I turned off the power, and so the ECS, the environmental control system, wasn't working. When I turned the power on again, this one was on actually, showing me that, well, my suit was too humid. This is the same for the cabin, I guess. With fuel quantity, well, if the fuel is too low, where can we see the fuel? One moment, please. Yeah, so I guess that fuel warning goes on when these are too low, because the entire capsule, I think, is really about its self-contained stuff and about, well, of course, controlling the stages. But I don't think we have some fuel display here for the boosters or something like this. Okay, what else do we have? Fuel quantity. Retro warning, yeah, before that thing fires, you get a warning here. And retro reset, I don't know what that does. I guess here we can start and stop a blood pressure measurement or something. Vox power. I don't know. The program. Oh, okay, we can turn off the entire program. That's a big one. We can turn off the entire sequencer thing, yeah. Interesting. And this is probably blood pressure measurement or blood pressure alarm. I don't know. This one, emergency O2, what was that one good for again? They explained that too. God damn it, there was so much information there. And that's not all. I mean, now that we have seen these controls somewhat, there was a little bit more. Let's go through those also. Explained, kinda explained. Then here we have the fans bus and the ASCS AC bus. This one, I think, is, yeah, here for this system. And, well, for that system to run, this one needs to have power. And this is now running on normal battery power. And if we flick that over here, it will not do anything. If we flick it over here, it will be on standby battery power. I think, because I still don't understand how the exact connection is here, because you can turn on the standby batteries here. What does that do? I guess they will be switched to the mains bus, and I guess the ACS is not hanging on the... I don't know really. I don't know how this works. Not yet. Okay, then we have the fans AC bus, which is for the environmental control system. I mean, that literally means fans, things that blow air, is my understanding. It's not a fancy abbreviation. Alrighty, so now that we have seen all of that, there was something more, which is the mission pad. Oh yeah, let's look at those also, which you can make visible by pressing C. And that this target versus the thing up here can actually be changed because you can assign different controls, separate controls. This one is important if you want to hold the countdown, which is a funny thing to do a few seconds before takeoff. So let's do that. I'm asking for holding the countdown. The countdown is now now held. Yeah, I gave myself a better name, Shepard, because I'm the shepherd. Holding the countdown. Then we can resume the countdown. We can do a radio check. Shepard, we read you 5x5 on UHF. Then let's try the other one. Let's try the high frequency band. Radio check. 5x5 on HF. Okay. Temperature check. I don't know what that does. Shepard, your temperatures are fine. Okay, so that apparently always goes to control center. Interesting. Clock started. I don't know what that one does. Radio check, altitude check. Toggle jukebox. Oh. And now I can move the camera around. Alright, okay, so then we have the mission control pad. The mission plan thing. Mission control pad. The mission pad thing. Here you see the mission. Blah 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 blah. No assigned mission. Do what you want in this particular mission. Briefing? None. Map. What this exactly does or it's good for, I don't know yet. They haven't taught me yet. Transcript. Here we can see all the messages that occur. The newest ones at the top. And here you can write interesting stuff or don't. Okay. And then here we have the really, that's a lot of stuff here. The checklists, which seem boring, but I mean they're actually pretty informative. And if this isn't yet informing enough about the ship and the training courses, then there's also still downloadable documentation for the individual capsules from the website. In episode 1, I put a link in the description to get those. Okay, and this episode should have a link to the entire playlist, so it shouldn't be too hard to get to those links. Okay, so we can go through all those checklists here, which is something you should do before takeoff. But I think we have done enough theory for now. Let's do something else. And I will just resume the countdown, pressing C, resume countdown. Excuse me? When I say resume countdown, I would assume that this actually happens. Shepard, MCC, please resume countdown. Why is the countdown not being resumed? Oh, because I'm paused, motherfucker. Yeah, well, and then the mission begins, and you have to make sure that the clock starts. This one. Time from launch. Oh, no, can't. Ah, yeah. Oh, the clock didn't start. I just pressed the... Dude, why does this not... I don't get it. I don't know. Well, maybe because it's a free mission which hasn't a planned schedule, and so maybe the clock doesn't have any purpose. I don't know. Right, I forgot a little thing, I think. It didn't allow umbilical disconnect. Yeah.
Underway.
Ah, the clock started.
Clear. Roger, we're programming and roll okay.
Yeah, and during the ascent I'm supposed to do several things. Check the cabin pressure, check the battery levels, that is mains, that is less amperage load on one individual battery. I explained that because the three are connected together. See, that's the overall load on the three of them. Then we can also see the standby battery, which don't have any load because they're not being used right now, and we can see the voltage, which should be like this. The ISO has the maximum voltage, the highest one. This is nothing. And back. There we go. Thing is already turning because we want to enter an orbit around Earth. This has nothing to do with the dome that doesn't let any rockets escape. No, there's no... They're astronauts. Yes, nuts. They are not actually astronauts. No, we have not been to the moon, I assure you. There are no mirrors up there that we can use with lasers to actually measure that the moon is getting closer to Earth and is losing energy by having occasional interlocks with the Earth's rotation, which slowly takes away its energy, this rotational energy. You know, we cannot measure this with lasers that we point at these 90 degrees open cubey things. No, that didn't happen. Surely not. Also, they're all liars. So, worldwide conspiracy, the best conspiracy ever. Well, maybe you have to admire that. And the South Pole doesn't exist, and blah 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 blah. What losers? Anyway, so cabin pressure nominal for this height, temperature good, whatever this means. This also I can't explain. Suit temperature I guess is fine, and pressure is in cryptic units that I can't decipher, so I guess it's fine. This is the oxygen tank, which lasts the overall oxygen tank, the main one and the reserve one, for 24 hours, they said. Actually, I should have armed the squib, huh? Should have done that way earlier. I guess this flies foobar, because I mean, or is it? I don't know. Yeah, these are my tasks. I have to turn this on.
Jettison power is green.
So tower is that? I don't know. Whatever. What's this? The retro jettison thing? I'm sure if I'm supposed to arm it already. Probably not. And we should also take a look at the abort lamp here. If the ship is telling us, or possibly the tower, the control center also via radio, I guess, I don't know if that's a thing, to abort, because then we should do that. And I'm not sure what that does exactly. Probably make sure the capsule is separate, and then you can try to land with the retro thrusters and then the parachute, of course. Still burning, god damn it. Should be pretty fast by now. I actually don't know how deep this game's simulation of this is at all. I mean, it's just playing back some certain coordinates and is interpolating, and in between you can flick the switches, and if you did that wrong, there's an if, some if then else kind of logic that tells you, well, you did it wrong, abort, fail, ha ha ha. I mean, I don't think so. I think it's deeper than that, way deeper than that. I'm just saying that's a possibility, and I don't know what the answer is yet. How are we still burning? How much fuel does this thing have? Yeah, and one thing, do we also have mission tools? Can activate a photograph, for example. And then we can see... Hello! Yeah, because you can put your own images in that folder. That's the Stationeer's photo.
Rico! Plasma grade's fired, okay.
The capsule is separated. Cannot hear the radio out here, which is a bit weird. Of course it's a station, but how can I look from here? Because I have a camera? Ah. Okay, now we're drift. I guess the orientation system is kicking in and is trying to rotate us for a retro thrust, which is slightly diagonally down, I believe. So basically we should see... Oh wait, how can I... That's a bit tricky. See, it is not pointed in the direction where we came from, but it's pointing in the opposite direction and diagonally down. So this looks as if it's aimed for deorbiting, you know, just in case we need that. And now we'll go and change the attitude control to reentry, which takes a bit because it doesn't immediately kick in. And I think then it points... Well, actually, I don't think. I don't know what it does. Okay, let's flick that back, see what happens. to retro. Now it's doing something. And it's pointing way more downwards. Yeah, I think I remember, yeah. Re-entry oriented it horizontally, pointing it to the side. I don't know why. Maybe because if it would be pointing its thick side downwards, maybe the airstream would prevent it from actually staying like this. It would maybe be tumbling around. I mean, also the airstream, when it goes past this, might actually not touch or reach or grab the parachute when it opens. I don't know, I'm guessing. But when it points sideways, like it currently doesn't, because I'm pointed for deorbiting, not for re-entry, when it's pointing sideways, then I guess the airstream can easily grab the helper parachute to pull out the big one. Okay, can I choose to do a re-entry, is the question. Actually, no, let's first try the attitude controls, which is just WASD and QE on your keyboard. And if I do this right now, nothing happens, because it's not allowed. However, still not. Something else needs to be turned on. Maybe this one? Oh yes. Now I'm in manual control mode. And this will just keep going, and I can also accelerate it further. If I flip to rate controlled, nothing happens because I'm really in manual mode, period. Okay. I can turn on and off the entire manual system by just pushing this one back in. We should soon. Shouldn't we? Okay, maybe I should push this one in also. Okay. So if you want to be able to control... no, let me try this again. I will pull the manual one out, and then I will... Okay, none of my controls, Q, E, W, S, D, don't do nothing. They don't have any effect. But I guess as long as manual is on, this one won't take over and fix it again. Oh. Huh. Okay, then I don't know. I mean, my observational data doesn't produce any understanding here. But I mean, okay. That's one thing. And the other thing is, let me flick this to rate. Then I can just press Q and E. I'm pressing Q the whole time right now. Now I'm pressing E, which rotates the opposite direction. But it doesn't go very far. You know, it doesn't continuously pump up the power or something. And if I release now, it will slow down the rotation. Not to 0, but it will slow that down. That's what this rate control thing does. If I go to auto, it should normalize the thing entirely. It's currently rotating, but I think this will stop soon. At least I thought so. Ah, yeah, now it does. Okay. I don't know why that took a while. Maybe it's part of the horizon measurement system, which has a very narrow field of view. I don't know. Okay, that was that. Then we also have fly-by-wire, which allows me to control freely and at arbitrary rate, it appears. Oh, that Mr. Dude is still up there. Look at that. And I mean, depending on how I set all of these controls, either the main RCS tank will be used or the other one. Either the auto tank or the manual one. Maybe I'm currently in manual, but because I'm a fly-by-wire, there's one way to find out. I can just go crazy or something. Do we see the needle move while vomiting our guts out? Ah, we can see the left one move. Not good. Okay, I will just go back to normal, which will take the computer system a while, I think, to get all of this insanity back under control. But that's not my problem. So what other things do we have? What other toys, basically? Well, we have the cabin lights, for example. I can use a mouse wheel to zoom in and out. That looks ominous. We also have a light test in here to see if the controllers are even working. I don't know if this is ever relevant, but we do. Normal, and this one. And maybe I can just flick the warning lights to dim. So, maneuver on off, what does that do? I don't know. Yeah, and here we have some super wide angle view. I guess it's 360 degrees, I guess, I don't know. Because, I mean, this here, this sinus curve kind of thing is typical for a wide angle view that goes 360 degrees in a full circle when you're looking at this curved thing, which is called Earth. And we have a filter. But, okay, what's the next step? Well, I don't know, can we... can I somehow initiate the retro? Maybe that's part of these controls. Radio check again. Reading 5x5. Capcom. I don't know what that does. Oh, toggle jukebox? There's actually music in this one. Who would have thunk that? Whoops, what did I just do? Not sure. That's an interesting problem there. But how can I now effect a re-entry? By firing the retros? I guess so. Well, let's just fire the motherfuckers then. Which is of course a pretty deadly decision if it's not a good one. So I'm currently decelerating my orbit, which should lead to some descendy effects. Too bad the altitude meter only goes up to 100,000 duck snouts, so I guess we're already descending, but we're not seeing this here because I'm too high for that meter thing. But since I just decelerated, this should have the effect that we... what just happened? I didn't do anything. That we should now be falling, I guess. I mean, even if it wasn't much, I mean, that was pathetic. This little bit of drive there, right? It should still result in deorbiting ultimately, no? Okay, I think I have now wasted enough time here with this. Let's try to do the exam and probably fail it, because I'm not ready for this. I've learned a lot, as I've shown, but I can't master this yet, and the exam is a test of your mastery. Full mission. Mercury Pilot Certification Flight. The Mercury Pilot Certification Flight is a solo flight designed to test your ability to perform as a Mercury capsule pilot. You will be responsible for all mission-critical decisions, and the outcome will depend on how you handle each phase of the flight. Successful completion of this mission will result in the awarding of the Project Mercury Pilot Certificate. So this I expect will be slightly like the training that we will be guided through this to some degree. Welcome to the pilot certification flight of the Mercury Academy Shepard. Pilot certification flights, PC, goddammit, they have an abbreviation for everything. Probably called ACE. Pilot certification flights, PCFs, are the Academy's examinations. Successfully completing one awards you, I don't know, 8s or something. Today's mission will take you into a suborbital flight with a splashdown in the Atlantic. That was what I was trying with my retro firing there. It is important to first check the mission pad, mission and briefing pages after you ingress the cockpit. Do this now using M and get familiar with the flight plan. We have 14 minutes until takeoff, and I will take a look at this. Checklists, no, the mission. Imagine business flight decisions certificate. Okay, we know this now. Okay, dude, I'm not yet done. Welcome to the Project Mercury blah blah blah. This is a solo flight designed blah blah blah. You will ingress 15 minutes before launch. Yep. The capsule is in ingress state. Whatever that means. I mean, it's in the state like you just entered. Haha. Mission objectives: launch and achieve suborbital insertion, complete retrograde burn, re-entry, and splashdown. Mission timeline. The following timeline provides a suggested sequence of events. You are free to divert from this plan as needed to complete the mission. Launch at 0. 2:25 suborbital insertion. 4:44 retrofire burn. So that would be would re-enter the atmosphere, and about 3 minutes later atmospheric entry. 9:44 the parachute trigger chute will be deployed. The main parachute at 10:23. Splashdown at 13:45. Mission guide. Follow the full internal power checklist. Follow the final checklist. Follow the ascent checklist. Follow the pre-retro checklist. Follow the retro checklist. Follow the re-entry checklist. Follow the landing checklist. I cannot take this one seriously. There's a T missing. You will splash down in the Atlantic. Good luck. So full internal power checklist, final checklist. Let's see. Take a look at the checklist. Maybe they are in the particular order. Full internal power, okay. Looks like we have to actually refer to this one to know which ones of these to check. Wait, of these. Well, let's just go through the full internal power checklist then. Monitor capsule bus voltage and current while the blockhouse switches to internal power. Well, I don't know when exactly that happens. In other words, request blockhouse to remove external power. I guess that is what happens here. We can switch to switch to internal power. That is actually our control. Monitor capsule bus voltage. Now we have full load on the batteries because the capsule is now running from them. Nothing on standby and nothing on isolated. That seems normal. Isolate. Make sure the isolated battery switch is set to normal. It is. Good thing I explained all that stuff in beforehand, huh? Standby power switch is off. Verify all batteries and main bus voltages. How do I check? Well, I check the batteries by switching through them, of course. That's what already happened. At T-5 minutes, start final checklist. But let's see what this one says. Well, the final checklist. Yeah, okay, fine. Go back. Final checks. Here we go. Launch control switch. Ready. Suit temperature to mark. Yeah, there's some marks here. And well, it's a bit hard to see, but you can see here there's a line there, here printed on this wheel kind of thing, because there's also these reflection lines, which makes sense, of course. Is it set to mark? It is set to mark. Suit temp, cabin temp, inverter temp to mark. Transmit to UHF. Come on, move. I don't have time. Yes, it is. Perform radio check on UHF. Radio check. Prepare the cockpit for launch under the full internal power and final checklist, and follow the indicated timestamps and use timescale if you want. Shepard, reroute you 5x5 on UHF. Disconnect the launch vehicle from the umbilical power. You are now on internal power. Verify time 0 button. Cover removed. Yeah, in case we need to start the clock ourselves. DC voltage knob to 1. DC to 1? Why? I don't know how that... I don't see how that makes sense. DC volt knob. Is that the DC volt knob? No, that's not the one, isn't it? That's AC. AC-DC. Well, I don't know what that is. A DC volt knob. I mean, this is a knob, right? To 1? Well, now it's set to 1. I don't see how that is a good choice. It doesn't make sense to me. Squib switch. Arm. Yes, sure. You should be allowed to do that. Oh, that was this one. And the auto retro jettison switch. Arm. Yep. So that we can get rid of that. At T 30 seconds, start ascent checklist. But let's see what they are saying as we are supposed to do. For internal power, final ascent checklist. Aha. Okay, but well, the dev should definitely make sure that there's some blackness behind this white text so that we can read it even in this situation. So final checklist, the ascent checklist is supposed to be read 5 minutes prior, but I'm going to do this now because I'm too slow. That is the ascent checklist. Monitor the abort light. That's what we have to do while ascending. Monitor isolated battery voltage. Monitor cabin pressure. I mean, the isolated battery is used for the squibs, and the squibs are important in case you need to abort shit. Monitor cabin pressure, that's this one. We'll go from 15 to 5.5 duct snouts. Monitor DC voltage, that's here. DC ammeter. Monitor AC voltage, that's this one. If Atlas, well, this is Atlas actually, I think. Wait, are we going suborbital or orbital? I'm not sure which one it is. Oh, are they telling me this? Briefing. They're not telling me this. That's entertaining, I guess. Okay, let's look at the briefing then. I'm supposed to go through the ascent checklist at some point. On booster separation, BECO checklist or redstone checklist? Huh. I don't know. Anyway, then the pre-retro checklist. That is once we're in orbit, I guess. Let's do that checklist also. Already. Pre-retro. Approximately 30 minutes before retro time. Cabin temperature should be set to cold. Suit temperature, inverter temp to cold. So crank this up to maximum. 15 minutes before retro time. Emergency retro sequence fuse on. That's once on the left, I guess. That's pretty stupid. I have to guess where the position is where you can drag. Oh, right. Check this. I actually have this black bar down here where you can drag that around. So that's a pretty stupid implementation, I must say. Okay, emergency retro sequence fuse. This is the emergency retro sequence. That one is on. Then we have 1, 2, 3 rocket fuse on. retro rocket fuse. That would be these ones. Yep. Then what does the countdown say? 4 minutes. Then the 05G thing is on. Emergency also. Periscope fuse on, wherever that is. TM low, that is, I don't know. There, TLM low frequency on. And what we're supposed to do is TLM low frequency switch on. Yeah, okay. Transmit switch, UHF. Yep. BCN switch, cont. Is possibly the beacon switch, huh? Yeah, beacon, BCN beacon switch. Cont. Continuous beacon. And this is ground command, I guess. From, yeah. Retro jettison fuse. Where is that? Retro jettison fuse off. That would be this one. But not now. This is not the moment to do this. This is for later. Retro manual fuse supposed to be on. Attitude select retro, but not now because we're not there yet. Oh, right. Well, I haven't said anything about this yet, so I guess it doesn't hurt if it's set like this right now. Maintain retro attitude. In other words, don't play around with these controls too much. Leave the capsule in that attitude. So that will be the pre-retro checklist. Then we have the retro checklist. At TR minus 5 minutes, the retrograde light illuminated. At TR 0 plus 0 seconds, retro sequence telelight green. This one. Retro attitude telelight green if the attitude is actually correct and if the switch is set correctly. After 20 seconds plus, the retro 1 telelight. That's this one. That and audible tone. Then it says here 1 and here it says 4. I guess this one should actually say 3. So we could either say, programmer, you made a mistake there, or we could say, it's just a print, it's just a mistake on this printed form. Though it's unlikely that in such a scenario such a mistake would happen, because that's pretty important not to make such a mistake. Go to point 1, okay, do the thing, whoa, dead, you know. So cross-check attitude indicator, periscope and window. So to check if the attitude is fitting the window, but I mean, how? I don't know, have any experience with that yet. And then we have the fire retro telelight, which is here. Amber while firing, and green once completed. So that was retro, and then I guess the next one's the re-entry one. Yep, re-entry and landing checklist. Okay, 50 seconds. Re-entry. Fire retro green. Auto retro switch arm. I don't know where that is, the auto retro switch. Anyway, let's focus on the thing. Pressing M. Time to launch.
liftoff and the clock has started.
5 minutes to retrograde.
Yes, sir. Reading you loud and clear.
This is not the rocket that was in when I was doing my little test half an hour ago, so I assume that this one is not the Atlas, but the Redstone. I mean, the fire down here is also different. Yeah, it's a suborbital flight. And the mission plan is pretty tight, that's why we already have the 5 minutes to retrograde light on, I guess. What was the mission plan again? Retro fire burn at 4:44. Yeah, of course the lamp is on already. Pressure going down, as anticipated. We are supposed to check the battery levels. Because without power, you're pretty fucked.
Cabin pressure is holding at 5.5. Cabin holding at 5.5.
This might mean that the periscope with which we can look outside is currently retracted, and when this is off, we can maybe see the Earth here, who knows. Man, can you imagine that we have these crazy things and someone's sitting inside of them, relying on stacks and layers of technology with unfathomable precision, and that can become routine, even though a slightest mistake and someone's dying and a few millions down the toilet, and also the damage done to the landing site. Wasn't just something just exploded? I don't see where though. Welcome to space. As this is just a suborbital flight, your visit will be brief. Retro is only a couple of minutes away. Feel free to explore using the RCS and enjoy the view. Aha, look, this light is off now and we can now see. And what you see here, I actually fucked around with the settings after the first video, because I saw there was some more render quality settings that we could make, and here we have a reflection of the capsule and of the window. I'm seeing this for the first time now. And why was this so steppy? Blub, blub, blub. Because you can set the frequency, and I set something to medium or something, because I didn't want to overburden the computer, you know. I turned a few things on, so I didn't want to cause a complete frame rate snooze fest, so I was careful with that. Maybe I was too careful, because I have a pretty beefy machine. Prepare for retro using the pre-retro checklist. Roger, will do. I mean, I followed this already, but this is now the time. Pre-retro, TR30. Our mission time is at 4:44. That will happen, I think. Cabin temperature. Oh yeah, we have to set everything to cold. 30 minutes, that's not exactly what it is, but okay, anyway. The temperature will now go down. Here we can see that, and the suit temperature should also go down. Sensor temperature is going down because the thing that can sense goes down, but where's the suit temperature? Here, I think. Emergency retro sequence fuse on. That's this one, the big important one. No, wait, this one. 1, 2, 3, retro rocket fuse on. Yep. Emergency retro jet fuse on. Where is it? Here. And jet means jettison, okay. a retro warning, which will be, I don't know, 20 seconds before retro actually fires. The retro attitude is good because we were on retro setting here already. And I will leave this on because it will turn off by itself. And 2 seconds before retro fires, this thing goes red, and then the retros fire. So, I mean, it would have had re-entry anyway because it was suborbital, but anyway, the sequence is being followed completely. So there was that. Once we have some little bit of G's here, the capsule will start rotating. We're not there yet because we're not touching the atmosphere. I don't think the atmosphere, that we have any atmosphere measurement here because this is not flight of Nova. We can see how much well, atmosphere is on the outside. So periscope fuse, periscope is on, emergency and Dingstar, blah blah blah. God damn it! Don't get on my nerves here with the stupid reminders. I'm currently not ready for this. Pause. Some stupid reminder here I have to get rid of. Steam sales, yes, I'm aware. Soon, start on the 19th or 18th, I think. That one, no. And backup of my PC, not quite now, no. Okay. What just transpired? I think the retros engines were just jettisoned. So we're now very lightweight, I guess. This is the minimum. Until low frequency is on. Auto retro jettison switch off. Because I don't know why that would be turned off now. Maybe it would be turned off before the thing was actually firing and I was just too late here, that's possible. Prepare for retro burn using the retro checklist, yep. Prepare for retro engine jettison using the yeah, sure. Complete the checklist using the landing checklist, blah 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 blah. So it's just way too fast for me. Complete the checklist and use the landing checklist during re-entry and landing. Oh, look at this projection effect kind of thing. That's also a new graphical setting, I believe. That's cool. Nice rendering. So atmosphere, in other words, we should now see the G-forces kick in, which in turn should mean, here with the 0.5G thing, which is starting. In other words, we should also now see rotation. And, come on. Okay, that's not my choice. Complete the checklist and use, no, Roger, whatever. I wanted to watch from the outside, they don't allow me that right now. Awaiting thingy deploy. Yeah, sure, that is automated, isn't it? Or do I have to do that? My objective is to wait for this thing to deploy, I think. Can no longer view from the outside, it's a bit weird. See here, it's a bit off-putting, maybe I should set the frequency higher. What I have already observed even before my graphic quality settings. Do you see this black stuff here? I think that's new. Not related to the graphic settings, I mean. Before that, I already saw that when the lights in here are off, like so, whatever light comes in from the top there, from the window, is also what illuminates. Yeah, we had some too much humidity. illuminates the capsule. So we have some global illumination effects in here. It's very nice. Funny, I have a flashlight and there's another flashlight. Awaiting main deploy. Ah, now I can watch, okay. Next will be the main shoot. O2 emergency. Yeah, that's because the snorkel is out. Ah, look at this. Because when we're close to the ground, the snorkel will be on. And that counts as an emergency because then you have a connection to the outside atmosphere, aka vacuum of space if you're unlucky. And this thing. See, the bottom is like pumped outwards, and this will turn into some kind of boat kind of thing once it's squished from the weight of the capsule. Well, I can now accelerate time. I cannot. Yes, I can, but only up to scale 4, not faster. Wow. I don't believe that it would actually fall this slowly, because that is way too slow. I mean, a person would not fall this slowly. I wonder if I did anything wrong. I mean, I went through the checklists at the wrong point in time, but can the game know that? Can the game say, can the simulator say, hey dude, this flick, maybe I didn't turn a certain thing on at the right time. Normal time speed. Certified Mercury pilot successfully completed the Mercury Academy exam. Did I do anything? I was just watching. So, what can we see here? Manual fuel 0%, of course, that was jettisoned before landing for weight purposes and also so that things don't explode, I guess. R2 T1 could be the first tank, but why would the tank be already this empty? That doesn't make sense. Then we have this one, the other tank. Oh, is that the tank? I don't know. Ascent attitude. Well, if you click here, export, it will generate a PNG file on your hard disk. Anyway, okay, end mission then. I didn't expect this to be this easy. Huh. Well, let's check. I am currently profile. Well, there's nothing written here that I'm satisfied. Ah, down here, yeah. Mercury pilot. What else do we have? Gemini pilot, CSM pilot, and LM pilot. Let me just show you something pretty radical. First, the Gemini free play. Doesn't matter which one. I just want to show you what the capsule looks like from the inside, and then afterwards the not Mercury, but the Apollo capsule, because then you think, what, I'm supposed to learn all that? Because all the stuff that I showed you here, which is also what I learned myself in the first episode, that was already not so little. But that's like 5 times more switches there, easily. Or at least it feels like that. But this one is the Gemini capsule. Oh, you can toggle the hatch? But, excuse me, is there now no atmosphere in here? I didn't. Wow, let's close this. But I have no experience with this capsule, none whatsoever. I'm just, you know, loading it in. I want to show you what it looks like. Now I realize I haven't seen it myself. Oh, yeah. Yeah. The only one we can open. Wasn't there a switch here to open this thing? Stupidly, I can't find it again, because I want to check if the other one also has one. Anyway, look at all of these nice toys here. And there's a mirror here. A game with a mirror. Now I've seen everything. And finally, the Apollo capsule. Yeah, quite a few more switches in this one. This is crazy. Wow. Do we have the same switch on the other side? I would assume no. No, it's I mean, everything in here is... There are probably some redundancies here or there, I guess, but ultimately it looks like it's all unique. It's... That's crazy. Anyway, what do I look like from the outside then? Well, I'm in orbit. What does it look like? What it always looks like. And one final thing, which I haven't prepared for, so I don't know if it's in there / works. Missions, Apollo, scenarios, coasting home, lunar stay and ascent, powered descent, lunar landing, lunar module under. Okay, let's go lunar stay and ascent. I mean, so that we get to see something else for a change that this game has to offer apart from the ridiculously interesting and complex capsule stuff. Loaded already. Come on. You know you want to. This game left early access, I believe, a month or two ago. It's now version 1.0, but the dev wants to keep developing it. So, yep. Single person developer, I think. You have to admire people who actually pull such a thing off. External view. What do I see? Well, I see darkness and I see no moon. Oh, that looks like, no, that's the Earth. So is there a moon somewhere also? I don't see it. Nope, there's no moon. Pretty disturbing for a scenario that is named the way this was. Scenario Lunar Ascent, Roger. Or am I standing on the moon and it's somehow not visible? I mean, what I'm seeing. Okay, we have stars here, and there we don't have stars. What is preventing those stars from being there? The moon, I guess. But why is it black? I don't get it. Something broken here? Rendering fucked up or whatever? Oh yeah, okay, I forgot this view also exists. Where am I currently? So what's my altitude then? Oh, if I can... I have no idea where the altitude meter is here in this one. Acceleration, okay. No G's. Yeah, I guess some more training is required. But okay, admittedly, I haven't yet found a way to actually experience something in this game. To take an interesting flight from A to B. So far it was all on rails and all I have to do is flick the fuse here and such. And I'm not saying, well, the game is bad. No, not at all. I'm just saying, I admit that I haven't shown you anything of the gameplay experience and that I haven't seen that gameplay experience myself yet. I hope there is one, because as interesting as all this internal stuff and logic and so forth is, if that's all it is, then I won't spend too much time with this one. Anyway, speaking of which, this has been enough for today. See you again next time.